minutes before the top of the hour, it is time now for Storm Watch, and we have had certainly enough stormy weather stretching through the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and then back down into western Texas. The high plains of Colorado were hard hit. Here's some scenes out of Douglas County, Colorado, and you saw more than just rain and lightning here. This is not snow that you're looking at, it's hail. Several inches of hail fell in Douglas County, south of Denver. There are reports of damage like this roof collapse. Fortunately, no life-threatening injuries. We did understand that there were some people trapped in that particular warehouse or building. Well, we also had reports, I believe it was around Black Forest in El Paso County, at one point of 12 inches. A foot of hail, and it was golf ball size hail covering the ground, stranding some motorists. Can you imagine? I mean, this is 12 inches of ice that you'd have to get out the shovel and shovel it all off. What a mess. But some nasty thunderstorms during the late afternoon and on into the evening, specifically around El Paso and Douglas counties, so to the south of Denver. Well, we're finding some action too. We'll be adding more dots to Friday's map here because we've had sighted tornadoes here into western Texas. That was earlier on. We continue to get reports of gusty and damaging winds and severe thunderstorms. And of course, if anything is in effect for you, we will crawl the information at the bottom of the screen, so keep an eye out for that if you're watching from your local cable operator. As we go up into the Great Lakes region, hail has also been a factor, as well as winds. Each one of these dots, incidentally, indicates where we've had hail 3/4 inches or larger, or 58-mile-per-hour winds or greater. So it gives you an indication of where the weather was severe. And as we look at the water vapor imagery, lots of different things to point out here. First of all, we've got another little swirl. And this is what's going to move on through the western Great Lakes and eventually the Great Lakes region throughout the course of the weekend into early next week. And cooler air will funnel in behind it. And we also have a little swirl out here that's going to slowly work its way westward, may bring a few more clouds and eventually some showers in and around the Outer Banks region for the remainder of the weekend. We'll keep an eye out for that. Still a few showers across the deep south, but the bright white indicating where we still have those high cloud tops, eastern New Mexico, portions of Texas, into portions of Kansas, and that's where we're still finding some of those thunderstorms going strong. Along our front here, the frontal boundary is where you're likely to find maybe some gusty winds, maybe a little bit of hail. But here in the severe zone is where you could find still possibility for tornadic thunderstorms, damaging winds, damaging hail. We've had up to softball size hail with some of these thunderstorms into Texas. Amazing stuff. These thunderstorms really producing a lot of hail for Friday. All right, there's a look at the clouds, a close-up view. So we're seeing some of the activity moving to the south and the east, affecting you into central sections of Texas. And as we go on northward, we'll continue to keep an eye out for a few random thunderstorms, but it's mainly a showery regime stretching across the Great Lakes region with maybe a few embedded rumbles of thunder. Not expecting anything really strong or severe across this region. Well, let's take a break and take a look at the tropics now. And we have a brand new tropical depression number 1, very first one in the Atlantic season. And here are the coordinates, centered at 28.1 north, 57.1 west, 540 miles southeast of Bermuda, sustained winds of 35 miles per hour, and it's moving to the northeast right now at 6 miles per hour. We do think that at least initially this is going to be a pretty slow mover. Estimated central pressure at 1,009 millibars. And at times we have seen some of that convection firing up around the center of circulation. Still, you can see the banding coming out of this, the outflow. So we're watching this. It's possible that this could continue to strengthen, and it could be our first tropical storm of the season. We'll have to keep a very close eye out for that. And it is just off to the north of Puerto Rico. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Then you see another swirl. Now this is not tropical in nature, at least not yet, but it is something to continue to watch. As long as it sits over the warm open water temperatures, we'll have to watch this. Very slow drift to the west, and this particular disturbance again could bring some wet weather to the Outer Banks region by late Saturday on into Sunday, so we'll watch that. Otherwise, just some tropical showers as we head across the Caribbean and on into the eastern Pacific. That's a look at Storm Watch and your tropical update. Weather Center is coming up next. We'll highlight again your travel weather as we go through the overnight and what you can expect in your region if you're getting an early start to your weekend destination. Don't go away.
love questions or any questions. Call Psychic Talk now to get your answers.
You fooled around with somebody else, didn't you?
Oh my God, how did you know?
You were adopted by somebody in the family. Your aunt and uncle from the age of about 5 years old?
I was exactly 5 years old when they adopted me.
You're going to have an affair with a man at work, aren't you?
That's amazing. We're getting together tomorrow night.
Didn't you actually follow him to another young woman's house?
Wow, how did you know that?
Want to be even more amazed? Watch this.
Are you from around maybe Arkansas?
Oh my goodness, yes I am.
You're wondering if your
What Storm Watch is going around is sponsored by Touchstone Energy. We'll be talking about a brand new tropical depression, the first one of the season for the Atlantic Basin. That'll be coming up in a moment. But first, let's talk about severe weather. And a lot of it yesterday, for sure, was developing from portions of Texas, where flood watches and warnings have gone into effect for many northwestern counties right now. We saw a lot of hail reports around Denver and Colorado Springs. Today, we think that severe weather threat will be back into the western plains of Nebraska and Kansas. Watch out around Colorado.